Randy Vasquez, who was the pitcher last night for the Padres, gets his first L of the season. He was undefeated heading into that game. He only lost 5 2/3, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 Ks, 2 walks. But this guy, Old McDonald, had a farm? E-I-E-I-O? Trevor McDonald. Where's this guy been? Incredible. I actually have a stat. I do. Shout out Sam for printing it for me. Trevor McDonald, all right, tied his career high in innings pitched. He also did it September 26th of 2025 last year against the Rockies. And through 3 career starts, his .90 ERA is the lowest by a Giant starting pitcher since Al Worthington had a .39 ERA in his first 3 starts of the 1953 season. Trevor McDonald. I mean, I know Bryce is the big story heading into it, but coming out of it, you'd not be impressed by that, Joseph.
He was incredible. Sorry, I was eating
what are you eating right now?
Pork and rice.
Pork and rice is $6.50?
What?
God love you.
I've been up since 3:40.
Well, it looked better than whatever Carter was eating. It was like soup. What was that, Carter? Porridge? Borscht?
Porridge? You think a man of his wealth is eating porridge?
You just called it porridge now.
That's
Great.
what it looked
That's
like.
what the servants eat.
It's oatmeal soup.
Gruel.
Oatmeal soup.
He said it was just right.
Well, it's just oatmeal. It's a little watery, but that's okay.
Goldilocks? What do you say? It was just right, Sam?
I can honestly say I've never seen anyone fill the water in the packet. Like in the actual packet
great.
container.
You know, I read for the first time that's not the way you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, of course it's not.
You're supposed to put it in the microwave after you do that.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I'm well aware. I don't know why you did it that way.
You just put boiling water in the packet, and then you add it to the oatmeal. It's usually good.
You pour it into the bowl.
Thank
you have
you.
the water barely over it, and then it'll absorb once you start it in the microwave. What are you doing?
Well, usually Sierra makes my breakfast.
Oh,
and
here
now
it comes.
that's
Here it
changed.
comes. By the way, this man went from having like full containers of food. He's a couple months in on a baby, and now he's pouring his own oatmeal packets.
He's learning how to pour
I
his own
told you
oatmeal.
this day was coming.
It's a bummer, honestly.
I told you this day was coming. Will you admit I was right?
She's got to get back up. I don't know what the deal is. These breakfasts suck.
Oh, this is great.
How's she doing? We both got babies around the same age.
She's alive,
now.
Joe.
She's alive.
Not sleeping much.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Well, Sierra, I hope everything's going to go well. And baby Sienna, I hope she's doing lovely.
I'm sure she's listening. You could tell her.
I'm telling her right now. And she is listening. If she wants to contribute to the conversation, 888-957-9570. She can call or text. Also, we are streaming live on YouTube. Come see our beautiful faces right there. And you can also listen to us on the free Odyssey app. All right, Joe. You saw the news yesterday that Bryce Eldridge was getting the call up.
Yeah.
How'd you feel?
Well, I mean, I was excited that he got called up, but I'm looking at the at-bats yesterday. First, before he even stepped on to the batter's box, him wearing the mock black Nike turtleneck, the sports turtleneck, brought me back to Will Clark in the 80s and 90s. Now, this is maybe more of a San Francisco, South San Francisco thing because of the weather that we played in, which was foggy, cold, and wet. We wore the black turtleneck. I'm talking about the OG sports turtleneck, and we all thought we were Will Clark.
You ever rock a turtleneck like with like a blazer or anything?
Oh, that was back in the day. I actually had a turquoise one.
It's coming back is what I'm saying.
I know. I had a turquoise one that I wore with a sweater a lot growing up. That was the look.
A turquoise, wow.
Turquoise, yeah. Turquoise was hot in
Florida
the early
Marlins
90s.
over here. Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, it would be... that's what we wore. I have a couple photos with us. So I'm wearing like the turtleneck, and then there's like a sweater over it.
Yeah, I had because I was, a little kid. So turtlenecks are also popular for the little kids with the overalls on top of it. So there you go. That was my look.
So
in a bowl
like,
cut.
Anybody that like has played ball in the 80s and 90s, we didn't have the compression sleeve stuff they have now, right? And so wearing a turtleneck was like, that's what you wore to play sports. And Will Clark made it really, really cool and popular. So when I saw him wearing that, I was like, my guy looks the part. Notice no purple on any of his stuff.
Oh, come on. We got a City Connect night. It's Tuesday. Let's go.
I'm out on that. And so it was great. But the at-bat, first at-bat, after Adames, ends up coming up, it's the first inning, and Adames, again, strikes out swinging again. And here comes Bryce. He doesn't see one pitch, and it felt like they were on the ropes. And he's swinging out of his shoes, and he flies out to center. And so it's like, young man, take a deep breath, Relax. I know you're chomping at the bit here. So you get to the second at-bat, and I thought he was a little more selective in the second at-bat where he drew the walk. And very next, guy comes up, Jesus Rodriguez, who also had his debut last night, for the season at least. And he grounds into a double play, and Bryce has to go sliding into second base. So now we get to that third at-bat for Bryce Eldridge. Now, he doesn't play in the field yesterday. So, all we have are these at-bats. And I thought that they brought in Randy Vasquez basically just to go up against him. It's a lefty, and it was a funky at-bat. And I thought he fouled off a couple pitches and was working it, and then swung out strike three swinging on some sort of a breaking ball sweeper type of a play away. But I thought it was a good at-bat. So that goes down as a strikeout, and everyone goes, he strikes out a lot. Well, if you watch the at-bat, I thought it was a really good at-bat overall. He didn't get overpowered. No. So how did he debut? It was all right.
Exactly. They got the win.
But he didn't look overwhelmed.
No,
and
he
that
didn't.
was the thing I took away. And yes, they got the win.
Well, and also, this is how it works, man. You got to take some of the lumps. There's 7 games under 500. Mm-hmm. So he's fitting right in if he's striking out as far as I'm concerned with most of this lineup. But the guys that need to produce, as you just said, the guy right in front of him yesterday, Willie Adames, he's getting paid over $100 million. Hit the ball. Raffy Devers, who did show up yesterday, was clutch yesterday with runners in scoring position. Those are the guys. Matt Chapman, a guy who was off yesterday, those are the guys that step up. Don't take my word for it. Buster Posey speaking to the media yesterday. This is the quote. This is from the article from Andy Baggerly that dropped overnight. Giants shake up their roster, and Tony Vitello is prepared to assert his authority. Quote from Buster Posey: "We're going to need our big 3 guys to lead us out of this funk and produce the way that we know they can produce. And hopefully Bryce and Jesus can come up here and understand that, my opinion, for them to be successful, just go out and continue to play like they've been playing in AAA."
Now, first inning, you give up a home run to Jackson Merrill. You're thinking, oh, boy. Oh, here we go.
I know.
But you get the Jung-Hoo Lee ground out. Casey Schmidt comes up. Boom, home run. 1-1. Wow. You're thinking, all right, here we go. Luis Ariz hits a double. I think he got 7 or 8 doubles this year. He's been awesome. And so you have Ramos getting that fielder's choice, which I referenced earlier, where Bogarts went to third on the throw and not to first, and Ariz slides under the tag.
I actually don't hate that move from Bogarts. Just a horrible throw.
You got to make that play. There's twice. Yeah. He was lollygag. He almost took his time on the play.
Way too much time.
And I don't he doesn't attack the ball. I don't love him as a defensive shortstop. That being said, he's better than Adames. Defensively, I do. I think he's better than Adames.
Yeah, no, he is.
Devers comes up. It's first and third. You're thinking, this is a situation where if Devers is red hot, I think you walk him to get to Adames. Why they pitched to him in that situation, it speaks to how bad Devers has been this year.
It does.
All right, so you got first and third, and he rips one past the second baseman. And you're thinking, all right, he drove in a run. And then we get to, Devers pops up later on in the game. But I thought the more crucial at-bat was late in the game when they had a runner at third base, less than 2 outs. And again, Ariz goes second to third, and Devers is up there, and he hits a sac fly on an elevated kind of pitch to Fernando Tatis Jr., and the Giants go up 3-1. So he gets 2 RBIs in this game, and to me, there's the situational hitting of runner in scoring position in the first inning, getting a base hit, huge. And then late in the game, bottom of the 6th, when you're up 2-1, you need to tack on runs. That run was humongous. No one had confidence Adames was going to get that runner in with 2 outs.
No, and that was the difference in the game because Laureano hits the tank off Killian at the top of the 9th. They had a run to work with. Killian settles down, gets a couple Ks, gets out of it. Giants get the win. They snap the 6-game losing streak.
No, I didn't mean to.
No, you're good.
He also drew a walk late in the game.
He did. He did.
Which I don't want to dismiss because in Kruk and Kuip were talking about it. That's the type of at-bat he just hasn't had a lot of this year, where he works the count and actually lays off the slop, as I like to call it.
Get on base, baby. Get on base. Billy Bean method right there. Brought to you by Golden State, serving the Bay Area for 3 generations. When you succeed, we succeed. Visit GoldenStateLumber.com. And we're actually moving up Dave Fleming this week. Dave Fleming, voice of the Giants in our 95-7 game. Yeah. Giants Insider joining us 8:20 today to talk about Bryce's debut this season. Jesus Rodriguez. This guy, Trevor McDonald. All of it, and Tony Vitello inserting more authority on this lineup. It only took a month, and maybe they needed to be 7 games under for him to, finally get a pulse on this team and to have some urgency. Because I feel it when he speaks. I mean, when the guy speaks, it's like Michael Scott whenever Tony Vitello speaks to the media. He's like, sometimes I start a sentence, I don't even know where it's going. That's how I feel when I listen to Tony Vitello. But that's what we do on radio too. So I kind of feel like when I listen to Tony Vitello, it's like, that's a radio guy in the best way possible. But what he had to say yesterday, Joe, after the game with that praise for Arias, like I keep going back to, I was like, that's why you brought him in. This guy is brought in to be a player's coach, a player's manager. And you know what? He's going to say it how it is. Hey, Adames, you stink right now. Chapman, you stink right now. Devers, I'm going to put in the guys that are playing well. Arias ain't getting days off. No, I need him. Casey Schmidt's not getting days off. I'll move him to the left field. I'll move him to third base. I'll move him wherever he needs to be. And Bryce Eldridge, too, is like, hey, let's see what the kid's got, because you guys, that are the 2 highest paid players in this of the franchise, you're not holding up your end of the bargain.
And let's, it's maybe not a headliner like those other guys, but Pat Bailey's sitting 2 days in a row and then coming in as a late defensive sub. Like, I love that. Like, I love the way that they manage that.
When's Susak coming back, by the way?
It should be coming back in a week or so.
All right.
Next time Trevor McDonald pitches, Jesus Rodriguez better be behind the plate.
Yeah.
Whatever they have, that like moxie together, they're on the same page, they're syncing. I don't want to see Bailey. I don't want to see Bailey with McDonald. I want to see Jesus get another crack at it. I liked his at-bats, too.
I did, too. Tony Vitello, before the game yesterday, here we go. Oh, you guys shifted him over. It's okay. On Bryce Eldridge and resting some of the vets.
The conversation that we've had with you guys is about keeping guys fresh. It's a little bit of a conundrum. You want to keep guys fresh throughout the season, but what winning does is it buys you room for error, if that's the right way to say it. It buys you a little more freedom to try this or try that, whether it relate to pitching or position players. And, we haven't really had that to this point. Well, it's time to drop our guard down and get a fresh start to the season and just talk about today. And one thing that we're going to do is kind of sort out the puzzle of how do we involve everybody. And the negative to that is going to be, you call it ego or pride or whatever, or guys just eager to get out there to find the best version of themselves. There's going to be days where they're not playing. But the benefit of that is when they are playing, they're not going to have any excuses, and not that they have, but they're going to be fresh of mind and fresh of body.
And that was Tony Vitello before the game yesterday, talking about getting some vets rest, and also just, hey, this is the time, man. Hey, Bryce, you're 7 games under 500. Jesus Rodriguez, too, to an extent, but Bryce Eldridge is the guy. That's what fans are hoping. I know there's pressure, but, dude, it's not like you're 10 games over and, you need to be, like hitting home runs and tanks. Just put together quality at-bats. Yeah. I don't need him to hit home runs left and right. Get on base, make contact, and you're going to stay in this lineup.
Well, that's where the first at-bat, I got a little worried. I'm like, it's one pitch at a time. Don't jump out of your shoes from the jump. And he does. And I thought the other 2 at-bats, he kind of settled in for young Bryce. Joe, but I think we're making a lot about Bryce, but to me, it's up and down the roster. So, right now, Jung Hoo Lee's hit a little bit of a funk.
Yeah.
Drew Gilbert's hit a little bit of the funk. I know Adames is probably the logical one that sits today, but I could also see a scenario where Jung Hoo Lee goes to center, and maybe Ramos goes to right and Casey goes to left, and you try that out. I would probably see a different leadoff hitter. I would probably go Ramos leading off tonight, and then Devers in the 2-hole, and then I would go Schmidt. So that way Devers has some protection right behind him, and then after him, Arias, then Chapman again, then Bryce Eldridge. And then I drop, if you play him, I would drop Adames. That's how I would go about it today. And then whoever, we got one, and then I would have Jung Hoo Lee hitting after Adames.
After a month of baseball, Casey Schmidt is your team leader with 5 home runs and 16 RBIs.
He's been the best player on the team. Landon Roop notwithstanding.
Is that a good thing?
Well, on one level, it tells me that they can develop.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is a good thing there. Is that a good thing because of the money, the 600 whatever million allocated to the other guys? No, it's actually alarming.
It is. And by the way, the Giants are now 11-3, Joe, when they hit at least 1 home run. Mm-hmm. They are 3-18 when they do not. Bryce, get a home run. Please. I would love that. Just get some confidence in this kid because you're going to be facing the Pirates coming up here. Then you got a huge series next week against the Dodgers. It doesn't get easy.
No.
I mean, it's
the bigs.
Well, it's the bigs, and also it's like there's not one dominant team right now in Major League Baseball. I know the Yankees are in the American League. They're 13 games over. They're not world beaters. I know the Braves look pretty freaking good. They're 25-11. So if you want to go there. But, I mean, outside of that, like, this division, the NL West, the Dodgers are 22-13. They're not out of it, people.
No.
It's May 5th. Take a deep breath, all right? I know this feels like the sky is falling. I know I've been the guy that's been away for 3 weeks, so I haven't been in the nitty-gritty, and I haven't seen all the drama and all the, the debacles, the 6-game losing streak. I understand that. Got a lot of baseball to play still. A lot. And I would love to see more of a Tony Vitello imprint on this team going forward like we saw last night.
Now, I don't know how many other teams you're talking about. No one's like a runaway team this year.
Yeah, I mean, the Braves are 25. Like,
no, they're amazing.
Yeah, they are. But, like, do I fear them? Like, again, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're plus 80 in the run differential. That's pretty incredible right now.
I don't know how many people watch other baseball games, and I don't expect them to, but I was watching Brewers Cardinals, which was on one of the YouTube TV channels.
Sure.
I have YouTube TV now. And I'm watching the Cardinals, and they're having a really, fun year this year. They're very kind of an upstart squad.
Yeah, people picked them to be, one of the worst teams in baseball this year.
I know. Well, and I look at their team speed, and I'm watching them against the Brewers. Just the speed. I'm just looking at the athleticism and the speed. And they've got Jordan Walker playing, who came up a couple years ago, and it's just hasn't necessarily lived up to the promise. I mean, this guy's 6'6", 250. And now he's really tagging the ball. Mason Wynn is their shortstop, young guy. And these are all under 24, 25-year-old guys. And then they have this other outfielder, Weatherholt, who is only 5'9", 190, but looks like he could be an absolute monster. And so they're playing all these young guys. I think he's only 23 as well. They're playing all these young guys. And, yeah, they've got a couple of older guys that they've supplemented in there. They're just ridiculously athletic and young, and there's something vibrant and hopeful about that team. I look on the other side, the Brewers, and we know how well-run they are. Yeah. They got Jackson Churio and a variety of other young players that they're playing. And I'm watching the Giants last night, and I don't think it's any surprise that they're being carried by a couple of the younger guys in Landon Roop and Casey Schmidt, and now we're hoping that Bryce Eldridge could bring it, and Ramos in the last 2 weeks has been really good. And so, the league is younger. As we talk about, the NBA, it's getting younger. The NBA is getting so young. And you watch Wemby have 11 blocks last night.
Incredible.
He's spectacular.
Big win for the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I think the same thing can be said for baseball right now. When you look around the league and you see some of these, fun teams. Now it's early, but you see them. They're relying on a lot of younger guys. And I think the idea of going through free agency and spending on older guys, though tantalizing, and it can upstart you, the true teams that we think have staying power are the young, vibrant teams.
I'm glad you brought that up as you're listening to 95 in the game. KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco and Odyssey Sports Station, the home of the Golden State Warriors and Valkyries, always live in the free Odyssey app, coming live from Laugh Among Studios. It's Spadoni, it's Shasky, 1 hour down, 3 more to go. Dave Fleming going to join us at 8:20, voice of the Giants, R95 in the game, Giants insider, as the Giants snap their 6-game losing streak. For this season to be a success, I don't think it's 100% tied to making the playoffs. I believe that. Now, people might say that's a loser mentality, Joe. This team is starved. You have hundreds and hundreds of $1 million invested in these couple players. You got Logan Webb. You got Robbie Ray. You brought in Tony Vitello. You got Buster Posey and other things. They need to make the playoffs. Would I like them to make the playoffs? Yes. Do they need to make the playoffs? No. And this is the only scenario, if this happens, that they would not need to make the playoffs, in my opinion. Develop a young core that has staying power this season. What I saw last night was part of it. If Trevor McDonald ends up being a dude on this staff, you know how much that changes things in perspective going forward?
I mean, they've been dying for someone from their own system to come through and snag one of these 4th or 5th starter spots.
It'd be huge for them. Now you got Webb, you got Ray, you got Roop, and Roop looks like he's got legit staying power. We thought maybe last year was a flash in the pan. No, he's legit.
He has thrown his name into starting the All-Star game.
Absolutely.
His name is, it's a month in, but his name is in there. 5-1.
It's incredible. And then add McDonald again. It's early. It's one start, but Not just one start. He's done it a couple starts before this. Now, can he have staying power? Can he do it on the road? Can he do it, week after week after week? We'll see. That's part of it. You saw a young catcher. You've seen Susak. I mean, you got Jesus Rodriguez called up yesterday.
Casey Schmidt?
Casey Schmidt, a guy that you've been very high on for years now, that came up through your organization. Like, if you have a young core of him, and then you add in Aldrich if he produces this season, that has staying power, and I could be sold on that as a fan going forward, and it would make being sellers at the deadline more palatable for me because I have faith that you're actually developing young guys now. I haven't had that faith in God knows how long.
I know.
You haven't been able to.
I know.
I mean, that was the promise of Farhan Zaidi, Joe. Moneyball. Oh, look what he did with the Dodgers. Oh, he's going to bring in all these international signings and all this stuff. And it's been barren. I mean, the Joey Barts, the Marco Lucianos has not been good.
No.
So that's what I'm getting at. I don't think the success of the season being solely tied to making the playoffs is a necessity, at least for me. I'm speaking
as
for
long
myself.
as the young players continue to produce. If the young players don't produce, this could be a unmitigated disaster.
Oh, it would be.
But I'm with you on that. And I think if you're looking for silver linings, right? So, like, we want the team to be better. Right? That's it always starts with that. Like, we want the record to be better. But if I can't have that, Casey Schmidt becoming an everyday player and a legit everyday player. Look, he's on pace for 25 home runs, 25, 30 home runs this year. That would be remarkable, would it not?
Well, and the fact that defensively, and it started off a little rocky. Remember, he was playing first, and we were all like, what the hell is going on? Why is Casey Schmidt playing first? They're trying to get Devers up to speed, what have you. I mean, they're talking about putting him in left field. The confidence that they have in him, Joe, to play all these different positions, and it's the guy you referenced earlier. Ron Washington working with all these guys. Been incredible.
So, like, I get what you're saying regarding, Casey and Bryce and all that. But there's also this other thing on the other side where you've got Chapman, Devers, and Adames making $600 and whatever million until God knows when. I don't know how to balance that. I agree with you where the Bryce Eldridge, Casey Schmidt, Landon Roop, whoever you want to throw in there. You want to throw Caleb Killian in there? I'll listen to that. Ramos, I'll listen to that. Whether it's Susak or Jesus Rodriguez, there's no doubt. But you also have this giant bill that's due on these 3 mega contracts. And so I'm not really, I don't know, man.
I'm not worried quite yet. And I know it's been rough this way. I'm giving Devers, not a pass per se, but I'm allowing Devers to have more room for grace going forward than I am Matt Chapman and I am Willie Adames.
Why?
Because Devers has the track record.
Okay.
I will give Devers that. He has a track record of being one of the top hitters in baseball. You were referencing on the call yesterday. This guy has made adjustments his entire career, and he has to make another one because right now it hasn't been good. Maybe yesterday was a step in the right direction going forward. Let's pick this up on the other side. I don't think this season needs to be a success only for the Giants to make the playoffs. Sorry, I phrased that horribly. That was a Pictionary thing.